Good morning, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the new intro. I have been super busy lately. I did a craft fair and I did really well. So I decided to do another one. And my next one is not for a couple of weeks, but since the last one in October, I've been crocheting like a madwoman, making all sorts of things, which I'll post some pictures of. Um, I've been making stuffed chickens of three different sizes. I've been making three different sized pumpkins. Been making some chicken hot pads, chicken shaped hot pads. Also been making microwave bowl cozies. All of this, those are clearly made out of cotton, so they can actually go into the microwave. You can put your bowl already in it, and then just throw that straight in the microwave. But I've been crocheting like a mad woman. I had tried creating a couple of videos that was how to make a hat, or a beanie, a winter hat, and I struggled with it, like massively struggled with it. So today I thought we would do two different stitches. The first one is going to be the bean stitch, and the second one is going to be the puff stitch. And the reason that I'm showing both of these today is because they are very similar. So the bean stitch is actually it's just a partial puff stitch, if that makes any sense. So, like always, the first thing you want to do is you want to create your slip knot and then you want to chain. So, for both of these stitches, you want a multiple of 2 plus 1. So, any chain that's an even number, then you're going to add 1 as your turning chain. So, I'm just going to go ahead and chain up a few. I don't know how many. We'll probably do about 20 so you can actually see the stitch. All right, so there's 20. It's my even number plus 1, right? Now, I like to always start something out with its own border, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a half double crochet row before I get into teaching the bean and the puff stitch. Now, the bean stitch is both of these stitches are used by literally just wrapping the yarning over multiple times. So you're going to go into a stitch and then you're going to yarn over, and then you're going to go into the stitch and then you're going to yarn over again. And you're going to continue that until you have a set number of stitches on your hook, or loops, I'm sorry. So you have a set number of loops on your hook every time. So, for instance, with the bean stitch, you're going to continue to do that until you have 6 loops. However, with the puff stitch is a much larger stitch. It's a very fun little squishy stitch. It has 9 loops before you actually close it off. And let me just get through this and we will get to that. Okay, so now that I've finished what I always call as my foundation row, right? I always try to do a border row around it. I just did some half double crochets in this beautiful little gray that I bought. So now I'm going to flip it. I'm just going to chain one and flip it. So, um, when I do any stitch, and I'm going to tell you to do it on this one as well, I always do a regular stitch on the outside and then I do my special stitch. So, you're going to do a half double crochet here, and then we're going to skip one stitch. So you're going to yarn over, This is how to do the puff or the bean stitch. So you're going to yarn over. You're going to insert into that next stitch. Remember, we skipped this one. You're going to insert, yarn over again, and pull through. So you should have 3 loops on your hook now. So we're going to do that again. So you're going to yarn over, insert in, and now you have 5. Now the tutorial that I saw said that you should have 6, which means that I did this wrong. So let's go back. All right, so you're going to insert into the stitch and pull through. Now you have 2. Yarn over, insert into the stitch and pull through. Now you have 4. Yarn over again and pull through the stitch. You should have 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now this is bean stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull that yarn through all of those loops. Like this. Now to close this puff stitch up, you want to just go ahead and chain 1 right on top. Now bean stitch. Now this bean stitch, the wonderful thing about bean stitches is bean stitches will actually lean. So they'll lean like this as you do your work. A puff stitch will stand up straight. So when you do bean stitches, they will lean over, and so you'll have like this diagonal back and forth. It ends up being really pretty. So now you're going to skip 1 again, and you're going to insert, yarn over, and pull through. Now we're going to yarn over, and we're going to yarn over again and pull through. And you're going to continue to do this until you have 6 loops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over, and you see how I'm pulling, how I've turned my hook completely upside down like this. It's so that your hook does not get caught on any of those loops on the way through. And then again, you're going to chain 1 and close. Okay. So we're going to skip a stitch. We're going to go in, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and then pull through. Once again, we have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to yarn over, pull through all loops on your hook, and then chain 1 to close. So I'm just going to finish up this row, and I will be back in just a minute. All right, so now that we're at the end, we have 3 stitches left, remember? And we did that on purpose. We want to have 3 stitches left because we started our row with a regular half double crochet. And remember, the only reason I do this is to give you that boxed out bordered look on all of your work without having to do a border. Okay. It's the only, I like to take the easy way out. Okay. It's the only reason I do it. Otherwise, you don't have to do that. You could have done it in this first stitch, and you'd have a puff stitch here and then nothing. And then I'm sorry, a bean stitch. We're doing the bean stitch. See, even I get them mixed up. You'd have a bean stitch here instead of just a half double. But I do it so that it's bordered out already, so you don't have to put a border on. I take the easy way out. So again, we're going to do one last one here. So bean stitch, chain 1 to close, and then because this is the end of my row, I'm going to go ahead and just half double into that one. Okay. So if you look, they do lean just a bit. See that? How it's kind of leaning off to the left. Now you can go back and you can do a half double crochet in every single one of these, even in the chain 1 in between them, right? To make a full row. Or if you want to alternate it. Or if you just want to do bean stitches, you would actually do your bean stitch in between. So let's go ahead and show you how to do that. So I chained 1 and I'm going to half double crochet in this first one. And then you're going to bean stitch into this opening here. See this little opening? We want to do that. That's actually the top of the bean stitch. It's where our bean stitch started. This over here is actually our chain one. So we want to skip that chain one. So we want to bean stitch into bean stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. And I count that 3 times so that now I have 6 loops onto my hook. So I'm all about finding the easy way to do things. And for me, instead of counting, um, each loop, I just count how many times I go into the stitch. And for a bean stitch, it's always going to be 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. So what I'm going to do in order to show you the puff stitch is I'm actually going to do it above this stitch, these stitches, so that I can show you the difference right away. And then also you can see that this bean stitch does lean, right? Like you can clearly see we've got leaning stitches. And it does make your work go a little, curled up or whatever. But that's also why I do my stitches on the outside. It helps to try to keep it even. Same thing with my stitches on the bottom. There is a thing called a foundation row. There are plenty of YouTube videos out there on how to do it. Rumble videos, I'm sure, as well. Um, for you to be able to go in and like look at it. I've never quite figured it out, so that's something I'm still working on. So I call this my foundation row. I will always do a row of actual like just easy stitches in order before I start doing my special stitches. And so as you can see, this one leans to the right and this one leans to the left. And then when we flip it over, it'll be the opposite again. So that is the bean stitch. And the bean stitch is only 6 loops on your hook. Remember that. So 6 loops. So now the difference between the bean and the puff is the puff stitch is much larger. The puff stitch also stands up straight. So the puff stitch does not lean like this. So if you're wanting a leaning stitch, you want to do the bean stitch, okay? If you want something to stand up straight, you're going to do the puff stitch. Now, the puff stitch is done just a bit different. This one requires you to have 9 loops on your hook. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to half double crochet into this first one, and we're going to do it the exact same. We're going to put our puff stitch into the top of this bean stitch here, okay? So with a puff stitch, this time you want to yarn over before you go into your stitch because we have to have an odd number of loops on our hook. So here we have 2 already. So there's 3, yarn over, 4, 5, yarn over and go in. There's 6, 7, yarn over, that's 8, pull through, that's 9. And I will show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there's the 9. Again, we're going to yarn over, and I spin this all the way upside down so as not to get caught on any of these loops, which we're getting caught on anyway, and you're going to pull through. Same as the bean stitch, you're going to chain 1 to close this, okay? That's literally all it is you're closing this stitch, you're ending it off. And if you look, it's already standing up straight. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to yarn over, we're going to insert, yarn over, and pull through. We're going to yarn over, and pull through. Yarn over, and pull through. If you do that 3 times again, you should have 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you do it a fourth time, so yarn over, insert, yarn over, and pull through. Now we have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 loops on our hook. Okay, and I know it's a little difficult to see in the video, but I do have 9. So then again, we're going to yarn over, flip that hook over to be able to pull through all of those loops, and then we're going to chain 1 to close. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish this up. Whoopsies, that was only 3. 1, 2, 3, 7. All right, so now we've made it to the end. I'm going to do my half double crochet at the end just to finish off that row. So I want to show you the difference. Do you see how this puff stitch at the top is standing up, but the bean stitches are still leaning? You could do a puff stitch. I'm going to I'm going to tell you. You can do a puff stitch in any number of loops, okay? The difference between a puff stitch and a bean stitch isn't just the amount of loops, it's how it stands. So a bean stitch will always lean because you don't yarn over before you insert into the stitch. You just straight up insert into the stitch. That automatically makes it want to go this way. With a puff stitch, you yarn over first and then you insert into the stitch. So it's always going to stand straight up. I've made puff stitches where I only yarn over 3 times. I've also made puff stitches where I yarn over 5 times, where there's 7 on the hook. There's 9 loops on the hook. I've even done one where there was 11 loops on the hook. It all depends on how you want to do it. I've made baby blankets in the puff stitch. I've made beanies in the puff stitch and in the bean stitch. I've made quite a few things in both of these stitches, and I love them both. They're so much fun. I will tell you though, they are yarn eaters, as you can tell. Like, I mean, just look at the amount of yarn, but it's also super thick. Do you see how thick this is? This is a very thick, you know, but it's fun. It's puffy. It's weird. It's people love it. So, um, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you are able to duplicate this. If you guys have any questions, please leave me a comment. If there's anything particular you want to learn, shoot me a message. Visit my Facebook group, visit me on Rumble, YouTube, wherever you found me. You can also visit my Etsy shop to see what I have going on in there. I'm trying to transfer everything over to Facebook and sell exclusively through Facebook, but you can also check me out through my blog, message me through there. Um, but I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed these stitches, and as always, keep hooking.